In this video, we're going to cover 3 things you need to know about dropping bombs in the F-15E Strike Eagle. Alright guys, welcome aboard the F-15E Strike Eagle, and today we're going to cover 3 things that I just recently learned while flying with Notso, who is the subject matter expert, or one of the subject matter experts working with Razbam for the F-15E Strike Eagle. And I had a chance to fly around with him and learn a couple things, and I wanted to share them here with you guys. First thing I'm going to do is make sure I'm in air to ground mode, and then I'm going to go ahead and set up my bombs for auto. And last thing I'm going to do is make sure that my targeting pod is active. So we're going to cover 3 different things, and the first one is quite simply that you don't need to have CDIP or CDIP set for really any of your bombs, because you can very easily change it on the fly. So I'll go ahead and just arm the aircraft. We are ready to go, and you can see that I've got auto. I've got that auto drop pipper right there in the center, and what I'm going to do is take command of the HUD. So I'm going to use my castle switch. I'm going to press it and then tap it forward. And now you can see that I'm in command of the HUD. And I'm going to use my auto acquisition switch, and I'm going to tap it to the rear, and it immediately goes into CDIP or CDIP mode. If I tap it again, it goes back into auto mode. So essentially, this just saves you some steps of maybe setting up programs for the CDIP. Essentially what Notso said was there's really no reason to set up CDIP as a program, just set everything as auto, because you can easily switch back and forth. Alright, so here's the second trick. We've got our targeting pod looking out at our target area. Our mission is to go hit this bridge. It's out at our waypoint. And then essentially we see something off in the distance that we want to action. Now, without a helmet mounted display, it's incredibly difficult. Even with somebody in the back seat, it's incredibly difficult to say, hey, put the targeting pod on something I see off on the right. So essentially what we have to do is sort of point the pod at it. And what we can do, again, using that castle switch, is I'm going to press it in and then tap it forward. And I'm going to do that twice. All right, so the first time I do it, I'm going to take command of the HUD, just like we did in the last tip. And then when I do it again, it should slew the targeting pod to the nose. So I'm going to press, tap, and there we go. The pod is now forward and locked in on the nose of the aircraft. So you can see wherever I put that pipper, that's where the pod is looking. And then if I want to lock essentially the pod onto whatever I'm looking at, I could just move the TDC, but I've got to take control. So I'm going to use that castle switch. I'm going to hold it to the left. Now I see I've got control. Again, the pod is still locked onto the nose, but the moment I touch the TDC, so I'm going to put my nose on something that I'm interested in. I'm going to move the TDC, and now it's looking at that target area. So that's really helpful if you do find something off in the distance. Let's say you see a SAM launch or something like that. You can quickly orient the aircraft, orient the pod onto that target, and not a whole lot of messing around trying to figure out what you're looking at and slewing the pod around. All right, so let's take a look at number 3. All right, so now the third technique to engage a target of opportunity. In this case, what we're going to do is find a target and quickly line up and loft our bombs at it. So I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot and make sure that I'm armed. We've got our weapons selected again in auto. We've got our targeting pod. Our targeting pod is out there just kind of looking around at the target area. And let's say that we find something that we want to quickly turn in on and engage. First thing I'm going to do is take command of the HUD. So again, that castle button, I'm going to press it in and then tap it forward. I get the in command. Again, making sure that we're armed. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn in on the target. We're just going to pick this green patch of land here. And I'm going to line up, get the nose, that auto pipper on it, and I'm going to take the pickle switch. I'm going to press and hold, and there immediately it's designated that target. You can see that the targeting pod has slewed to that point, and I've got that bomb drop line. So now I'm holding down the button. I'm going to continue inbound. I'm going to bring the nose up, and now we have dropped a bomb, essentially slung the bomb, and the laser is on auto. And now what we can do is go ahead and switch over back to the pod and kind of move it around and find whatever target. Of course, there's nothing here, so I'm just going to let it impact. So in 5 seconds, we should see an explosion. There we go. All right, so let's apply some of these into a real-world situation. All right, guys, so I've just kind of reset here. Once again, I'm going to make sure that I've got my bomb selected for auto, step, nose to tail. I'm going to go ahead and bring my pod up and make sure that I am armed and in air-to-ground mode. All right, so we've got another aircraft off to the right of us, a few miles. He's on his own mission right now. We've got our targeting pod kind of out looking in our area, and of course the guy in the back seat could have it, we could have it. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to continue on, and essentially what's going to happen is that guy's going to get engaged, and we're going to treat it as if we just saw a SAM launch, and then we can put into practice some of these things that we've just talked about. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is once I see this SAM launch is I'm going to go ahead and just orient the pod on it. So I'm going to take control of the pod, slew it to the front of the aircraft with that in command. Again, castle press and then castle tap forward twice. That's going to slew the targeting pod onto the nose. And then I'll point the nose at it, take control of the pod while I'm doing that, so that the moment I get the pod in and around the area, I can just tap the TDC and the pod will stay where I want it. Hey guys, Kazmo from the editing floor. One thing I just want to make clear, because I think I probably get my words mixed up and I want to confuse people. When we talk about taking command of the HUD, what I'm saying is you're going to use the castle switch, you're going to press it, that Z axis like you're pressing a button, and then you're going to tap it forward. I know I start mixing up tap and press, but you're going to press the button and then tap it forward. And when you go to take command and then slew the targeting pod up forward, you're going to do that procedure twice. So you're going to press, then tap forward, then you're going to press and tap forward again. Sorry for the confusion. Back to the video. So we're just continuing on. Of course, obviously, I already know where the Sam's at. He's somewhere over by that lake. I don't know exactly where he's at, but we should have another aircraft flying overhead, and that'll draw some attention. Just give us something to orient on. Okay, so there it is. We got a SAM launch. So I'm going to tap and press, and now you can see that I've got the pod locked forward. I'm going to go ahead and hold the castle switch left so that I have control of the pod, and I'm just going to slew it around. There's that SAM launch, and then once I get it in the area, I can move the TDC, and now it's locked on to that area. So now I can pull back, do whatever I need to do, pass that information on, or engage that target. All right, similar scenario. We've got our bomb set up for auto. We've got our targeting pod. I'm gonna go ahead and just move it down to our intended target area. Master arm is armed, and we have the HUD in air-to-ground mode. There's another aircraft out there somewhere moving on to his own objective. Of course, he's gonna get shot at, and then we're just going to roll in on the target and do a target of opportunity shot. So we've got an SA-8 indication somewhere out in that area. We're just gonna continue to drive in on our target. Okay, and we've got a SAM launch, so I'm going to take command of the HUD. Turn the nose over towards that target. Get the pipper on target, and then I'm going to press and hold the pickle switch. We can see the pod has slewed onto the target. And once we get a little bit closer, it's close enough, I'm going to start pulling the nose back. It's too late for our buddy. And we're going to release that bomb. So the bomb's away. We're going to pull away. Now I'm going to take command of the pod. And I'm going to zoom in on the target. The auto laze is functional. So we're already lasing. We're already guiding. And we're already pulling away from the target. Hopefully we're far enough away. And the bomb's got 17 seconds. 15 seconds. We're going to make those micro changes. Make sure that we don't mask the pod as best we can. And there we go, impact on the target. Now let's say that you've already got a target designated and you want to suddenly change your target based on the techniques that we've just talked about. I'm hitting the pickle switch right now, and you can see that nothing's happening. It's because we've already got a designated point. So I'm going to use the boat switch. I'm going to hit the boat switch aft and delete that target point, and now it'll snap back onto place, and I can go through the procedures that I just outlined. So if I want to get rid of that, boat switch aft, and it'll go back to no target point, no designation. All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, a big thank you to Notso for spending some time with me and teaching me a few things. I do have some videos to share of my time flying around with him, and I think you guys will be really interested. But in the short term, I just want to get this out because I thought it was pretty good information. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.